Good evening, everyone, or good morning, wherever you are. Thank you for being with me in another life. It's me, Ari Dawson. You can call me Rashid. By the way, I have my phone on a holder on my bicycle right now, so I'm gonna cycle or go to another location. This is why you see me like this. Um, by the way, can you all hear me clearly? I can talk loud here because I'm outside. So just let me know. Can you hear me clearly? Let me know, please. I want you to tell me if you can hear me clearly before I start cycling. Can you hear me clearly? I was just cycling, and from time to time, I'll just look down here and see the live chat. Oh, you can hear me clearly? Okay. Okay, that's good. So let me start. So, the topic of tonight, well, it's night for me. I don't know about you, maybe it's morning for you, afternoon, I don't know. The topic I'm going to talk about is why do warlocks and sociopaths, and a sociopath can be either male or female, why do they often get away with the bad things they do? Now, as I mentioned, not every warlock is by default a bad man, because warlocks are men, witches are women. There's a clear distinction. There are people involved in the paranormal thinking they can do good things with it. There are people with pure motives using stupid satanic methods. So those are the type of pagans that you can relate to because they're not evil people. Nevertheless, they're involved in something completely disastrous. Okay? I'm not talking about the warlocks who just do the paranormal just to get some aid in life. I'm talking about the warlocks who are aware that it's demonic and somehow think they can manage good and evil. I'm talking about those guys. Those guys and sociopaths have one thing in common. What they have in common is that they both often get away with a lot of stuff. Now, warlocks and witches, whether good people, bad people, they get away with a lot of things often anyway because they're practical. But I want to highlight in this live stream why sociopaths and high ranking warlocks often get away with the bad things they do in the community. And I'm not teaching this to support any of you joining the dark side. I'm not. I'm teaching this to make you alert because this is something where a lot of believers lack. And it's not something new. When Jesus walked the earth, he, I, when he walked the earth, he made a parable. The parable went like this. Okay? I'm going to modernize the parable and use modern day terms. There was this business owner who had a manager. Okay? Hold on. Let me see if I can cross the street. No, I can go there. Now, this business owner had a manager. The manager managed the finances of the business. There were rumors in the street that this manager was wasting the money of the business owner. Now, there was no proof that the manager was corrupt and wasted the money of his employer. Nevertheless, in the world, when there's a bad reputation, there's also financial loss most of the time. So the business owner realized, you know what? To have a manager with such a bad reputation, whether he's innocent or guilty, doesn't matter. My reputation as business owner will suffer too. I will lose clients. I may go bankrupt. So the business owner told him, listen, I heard some very bad rumors about you. You can't be my manager anymore. Now, guess what? The manager, he realized, hold on a minute. So people are rumoring about me out there, causing me to lose my job. If I lose my job, I get homeless, or I have to be dependent on other people. And you know what? I don't want to end up dependent on other people, begging for a place to stay. And I don't want to steal and do any crime either. So what can I do? The manager came to a solution. His solution was, you know what? People keep saying I'm corrupt, I'm criminal. So let me give them what they want. I'm going to I'm going to manipulate the bookings of my employer in such a way that I gain the favor of his debtors because his employer had people owing him money. So the manager thought, if I can use solve my own profits to count some of their debts, or if I can just manipulate the booking so I can count some of their debts, I know it'll be fraud I'm committing, but at least while committing the fraud, I'll win the favor of the public. And once I have the favor of the public, anytime something bad is come my way, they'll stand up for me. And the employer of that manager realized, whoa, this guy acted smart. Because if the employer would now fire the guy, and he would bring out how much he manipulated, then people say, you are a bad business owner, hiring a man like that. So he would lose. Keeping the guy over there would mean that the manager now has a bigger leverage over the employer. So in this case, the manager who was about to lose his job and become homeless, he ended up winning by acting smart. Now, that was the parable Jesus used. I just modernized it to the present day time, present day terms. Now, just like in this parable, what would most of you have done if you were that manager? You had a job, you did your job well, you worked hard, and people came to rumor about you in the streets because that the reputation of the business went down, and now you're about to be fired, about you got to become homeless. And you know that a lot of people would not be ready to help you out. What would many of you have done? Let me know in the live chat. What would you have done in that situation? Forget the parable just said. What would you have done? I'll give you just 1 minute to answer. I'm going somewhere with this teaching. I'm going somewhere. Don't worry. I can see your live chat right here, and there are no cars, nothing in front of me. So, what would you have done if you're about to be fired and get homeless based on some rumors of other people? I'm still waiting for your answers in the live chat. Let me know. Hold on. Let's see if I got any answers from you all over here. Okay, I'll wait half a minute more to get some of your answers. What would you have done? God is good. I'm about to read them when I'm going to stand over there at the I'm sitting at the bench over there. Then I can actually read all of them. I'm glad you're giving answers. All right, hold on. Okay. Let me see what you all wrote. One individual said the decree declare the repercussions and that everything bends in favor. One said I would just concede and lost the job. Someone said backfire the negativity and begin to look for another job and also work on being free from 9 to 5. That's good. Wait for evidence to prove my innocence with the help of the Holy Spirit. Well, that's a very bad answer. Just wait for evidence to prove your innocence. I mean, that waiting gets you in trouble. Diane says, wouldn't have known what to do. Look for something else in the meantime. Okay. Yes, find another job too. Okay. Why did I ask you this question? Because this is a difference between high-ranking warlocks and high-ranking warlocks and sociopaths on one hand, and the rest of the population. There's one thing high-ranking warlocks and sociopaths do that are similar. Now, not every high-ranking warlock is a sociopath, and not every sociopath is involved in the occult. Sometimes they are, but sociopaths and people that are high-ranking in the occult, they have one thing in common. They examine things in a scientific way. They look at the facts and the context of the facts. That's how they do it. Let's go back to the parable, okay? You're a manager. You're working over there. You do a good job for your employer. If you didn't do a good job, he wouldn't have hired you. Why are people spreading rumors about you in the streets? Why? Okay, that's what I mean. Also, when many of us read the Bible, we just read it as a story and we pick up some highlights out of it. We don't examine the history we're reading in the Bible. We don't. If you read someone is a manager at the place, they work, and now there are rumors about them that they're wasting the finance of the employer. Who, why are they rumoring about this individual? That's the first question. So if you're that manager and you pick up the people out there murmuring about you or complain about you, you're wasting the money of your employer, first of all, why didn't they report you to the employer then? Why did they do that? Why did they rumor about you? If they found out you were wasting money of your employer, they could just shown the proof to your employer, you would have been fired. Simple as that. Why are they rumoring about it? It is because they have no proof. If they have no proof nor any evidence that you are wasting the money of your employer, why are they talking? Why are they suggesting it? Because it is suggestive witchcraft. That's what it is. Oh Lord. Look at this. When many of you read the Bible and you read those parables, you just read, oh, there's a parable. You don't examine the context. You don't you don't actually examine what's there. Now let me tell you, if forget about this parable, if people are rumoring about you and there is zero evidence that hints to what they're suggesting may even be true. Evidence is a suggestion that something is true. Proof is when something has been established to be true. So you being called a murder suspect based on your DNA being found at the crime scene, that's evidence. The DNA being matched with the other evidence, and now there's video footage of you being somewhere else, that's proof you're innocent. So based on evidence, you can be convicted in a court of law. But proof can get you out of prison. But anyway, so there's a difference between evidence and proof. If there is no proof, at least it should be evidence that something is off. If there is not even evidence something is off, yet people keep suggesting it, it's suggestive witchcraft. That means there's someone or something they're upset about and they want gone. So this manager in Jesus' parable, he knew that people wanted bad for him. They knew they didn't wish him well. He knew that people wanted him to lose his job and become homeless. They knew people wanted him in a worse condition. Because a lot of people want you in a worse condition than them so they can feel good about themselves. So this guy knew he was under attack. And guess what? The employer knew what's going on, but the employer was selfish, narcissistic, didn't stand up for his manager. So there was proof to the manager, look, nobody got your back over here. And the manager understood, listen, it's the people out there suggesting negativity on me. And it's the people around me enabling it. So what I should do about it is I need to find a support group, a team of people that have my back. So how do I do that? Well, I'm in a position, I can offer financial relief. So let me give financial relief, because when you give people financial relief, they'll never forget about you. And when it comes to people's money, they're quite serious and it's quite deep. So yes, my employer may be upset with me, but you know what? My employer is not even loyal towards me. If he was loyal towards me, he would have said, listen, they're talking about you wasting my money. I know you're not wasting my money. So forget about it. Just keep doing your job. This is how the employer should have responded. But the employer was a coward, went along with the public, even though the employer knew there was no proof and no evidence the manager was doing anything. But the employer should have done his research. If the employer heard your manager is wasting your money, the employer say, waste my money? Where's the proof? I checked my money and my money is fine. That's what the employer should have done. The employer went along with the stupidity of the public. So that manager realized not if my employer has my back, if though I perform a good job. So why should I remain loyal to this employer if he's not loyal towards me? I'm going to keep his job, do what I have to do, so it works in my favor, then I'm out. That was the attitude of this manager. Now, in this case, the manager in Jesus' parable, he had a scientific approach to the situation. He looked at the context, what was going on, realized, you know what? What I'm lacking here is a human support group. So let me generate human support group from now on, so that anytime there's opposition against me, there are also people at the other hand opposing it. Because if I have no human support group whatsoever and there's attacks on me, I'm finished. So we realize that. Now, this is how high-ranking warlocks think. This is how they operate. And why do I say that high-ranking warlocks and sociopaths have one thing in common? Because this scientific approach is how they view danger in life. Let's say now that, for example, let's say now that someone is a drug addict, but they are in rehab. They're in rehab about to rehabilitate from the drug addiction. And then the friends and relatives keep complaining about how much the drug addict hurts and hurt their feelings and upset them. And the drug addict keeps apologizing to his relatives. Now, a common individual may say, look, you became a drug addict. You embarrassed your family. You stole money from them. You also were in the streets begging, all of that. So you know what? You did hurt your family. You're upset. A common individual would choose the side of the family. They would see it emotionally. Most people out there, they view things emotionally, men and women. Now, viewing things emotionally, there's nothing wrong in it in itself, because emotions are important because we're human beings. As community creatures, we bond with each other through feelings and emotions. So emotions are important, but you can't just view everything in life through an emotional lens. That's not smart. It's not a smart thing to do. But most people out there, because it's easy and it was a common thing that happens, we view things emotionally. We'll say to drug addicts, you know what, you were horrible towards your family, you became a drug addict, you lied to people, this and that, and drug addict will feel worse and worse about himself. And now because he feels worse about himself, he has a hard time breaking a drug addiction. A high-ranking warlock would look at the situation and say, hold on a minute, dude, hold on. You're a drug addict, right? You say yes. Okay, are you in rehab? Yes, I'm in rehab. Do you want to be better? Yes, I want to be better. Okay. Did those other people support you getting better? Oh yeah, they were happy when I told them I'm in rehab. Okay, they told you they were happy. What did they do to get you in rehab? Did they call the cops on you to force you into rehab? Did they withhold benefits from you and force you to realize that you need help? When you went into rehab, did they tell you to cut off all communication? When you went into rehab, did they reflect on themselves and realize, you know what, we were neglectful towards you too? Did they even admit their wrongs also? And the drug addict would think, no, they didn't. The high rank warlock would tell them, listen, what your family is doing is putting all the blame on you. Yes, you have some of the blame because you're the one taking drugs all the time, but it's not all on you. You came out of environment, and they are the environment you came from. So if you came out of their environment and they're the ones that raised you, it means if there's something wrong with you, they also had a role in it. Why are they not admitting their role in how you turned out? It isn't just on you. Yes, you made wrong decisions, but listen, if they saw you were going down, why did they intervene? Why did they let you go get worse and worse and end up in the streets? Why didn't they intervene? They could have easily intervened. Why didn't they do it? Why did they expect you to be loyal to them and to apologize and to be better towards them while they're not loyal towards you? That's how a high rank warlock will look at the situation and think, hold on a minute, these people are bad people. A sociopath will look at it and think, oh my goodness, why is this drug addict so pathetic? Why is he so pathetically apologizing to people that mean him no good? Can't this guy see that these people are only using him to feel good about themselves? A sociopath will even tell you, listen, you have to cut act so pathetic, man. Yes, you're a drug addict, you're in rehab, right? So why are other people complaining about you? What I'm saying is, I'm not saying sociopaths are by themselves good people, because no, or else they wouldn't be sociopaths, they wouldn't be reprobate. I'm saying sociopaths, as well as high-ranking warlocks, they look at things scientifically. And because they look at things scientifically, they see clearly what goes on. And because they clearly see what goes on, they don't fall for the narcissistic blackmail of the public. All right? Let me give another example. Let's say now you have a man. Okay, this man is 8 years old and he's in a nursing home, and he keeps crying, my children, grandchildren don't want to visit me. Oh, I was always there for my children. Now my children this and that. Oh. And the nurses in the nursing home have pity on him. Some of the nurses even call some of the children, ask, why don't you come and visit your father? Your father's crying here all the time. He's sad. Then one of the grandchildren one time came to the nursing home. He said, "Can I speak to that nurse over there?" They said, "Yeah." He told them, "Ma'am, you're looking after my dad, right? The nursing home." The nurse said, "Yes." "You called my mom last time asking why did she come and visit my grandpa because it's often lonely." "Yeah, correct." Ma'am, I don't blame you. You're just doing your job. But let me tell you one thing about my grandfather. My grandfather, when he was younger, he used to beat his wife. He used to cheat on her. He also used to beat his children. He used to be an alcoholic. He wasted the finance of the family. And my mom also was traumatized. My mom spent years taking medicine against psychiatric problems because of him. If my mom was raising us, I still encounter some dysfunction in my mom. My mom still is dysfunctional to this day. And several years ago, my grandpa didn't even want to see us because he had some money. And he thought, oh, well, who are you guys? Now, suddenly that he lost his business, now that he can't do anything anymore, he ended up in a nursing home. Now, suddenly, where are my children, grandchildren? I was so good towards them. No, he wasn't. This man is just crying, complaining because he can't bail himself out of the bad consequences anymore. He never talks about how he neglected and mistreated the people in his life. And that's why nobody wants to deal with him. And the grandson even said, "Ma'am, how can you have an 8-year-old man with children, grandchildren, and they never come and visit him? That's already alert you something's wrong over here." And the nurse admits, "You know what? You're correct." The nurse acted on emotion. Or is the old man, he's in pain, nobody visits him, he has children. Why don't children honor their parents? Because that's how we raise olds honor parents. So she's operating based on emotion. But the grandson is saying, "But lady, look at the bigger picture. If he didn't never had children, at least there should be people in his life that are happy he was around. If he was a good man and he looked after people in his life, there will be people, maybe even strangers, when to look after him. Now he's older. How come nobody's looking after him?" That shows something is off. And you know what? When you look at daily life out here, that's how a lot of people are. They operate based on emotions and feelings. If a lot of people go to keeping it real, they operate based on, listen, it's not only with the feelings and emotions. Feelings and emotions are important, but it shouldn't be your basic on how you operate in daily life. Your basis shouldn't be your basis. You should have a scientific approach to deal with life circumstances and life situations. And look, one thing you need to understand about mankind in this fallen state. Mankind in this fallen state does not love each other. We as human species, we can't stand one another and we won't admit we're one human family. Demons see us as one human family, all descendants from Adam and Eve. We don't see that that way. Even within our own group, we see differences that aren't even there. Fallen mankind doesn't love one another. They can't stand one another and they don't wish other well. That's fallen mankind. As a believer, you now have been uh, recreated when you became born again. So now you're part of redeemed mankind. So now you need to unlearn the ways of fallen mankind. There's still mankind, but believers are redeemed mankind, and the rest is still fallen. If they don't get redeemed, they end up reprobate mankind, the lake of fire. But that's something different. Listen, fallen mankind has one ugly attitude. They want to escape all the time. So people in the world, unless they have no option, they won't treat you as important. You're only important out of necessity. Either necessity because, well, they need food or water or some basic human need that you can provide towards them, or you're a necessity because, well, it makes them look bad if they don't treat you properly, or it is a necessity because you put a gun to their face. So if they don't please you, something bad may happen towards them. Just realize, fallen mankind, they only treat you as a priority, or they only consider you important if they have no other option. The more options fallen mankind has, the more narcissistic and abusive they become. This is how it goes. So once you understand this about human beings, then you also realize, hold on a minute. So when I deal with other people, if they perceive me as a necessity, they will treat me better. If they perceive me as an option, they may consider neglecting me. So if I want to be guaranteed of good treatment, I must always be perceived as a necessity or as a benefit towards them. Because the moment they see me as a liability or just an option, I have the risk that they will neglect me and let bad things happen to me. That is reality of daily life. And this is reality that the police understands. This is a reality that the governments understand. And this is also the reality that high-ranking warlocks and sociopaths understand. Guess what? Believers do not understand this. A lot of believers have a fairy tale attitude when it comes to daily life. They don't see fallen mankind for what they really are. And that's why, for example, if a woman is murdered, they find her body. Who is the number one suspect that the police will look for? Question to you. You may have seen movies or you may have heard about it in the news. When a woman is found dead, when a body is found, she's been murdered. Who is the first suspect the police is looking for? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. Who is the first suspect you're looking for? Waiting for your answers. Who is the first suspect you're looking for? Let me know. Yep, her spouse or partner. The sex partner, whether it's the husband or the boyfriend, that's what they're going for. Now you may think, whoa, why is the police doing this? I mean, the husband or the boyfriend or actually the male partner just heard that his significant other is dead. He's in shock, he's in tears, he's in grief. Leave him alone. That's how most people respond. They would say, leave the guy alone. He has to bury his wife or he has to bury his girlfriend. Leave him alone. We really react and respond emotionally. The police, however, would look at the situation and think, hold on a minute. Who has something to win with her being gone? If you have something to win with her being gone, that means you have something to lose if she stays. So someone who has her around doesn't want her around. And who's the number one individual having around? The sex partner. And often human beings have conflicts in sexual relationships. And such conflicts tend to be intense emotionally and psychologically. So the one closest to her has the most access to her, knows the most of her. She's the most vulnerable towards him. So he is the one that is the most capable of getting rid of her. He knows much about her. He knows all her weaknesses. He knows her routine. He knows what makes her tick. So scientifically, he is the best candidate to want to get rid of her. And guess what? Most of the time, when a woman is murdered, it is the man who did it. Because the police also realizes emotional pain caused in a sexual relationship can be so intense that a lot of people can't handle it. They just kill their partner. It's something scientific. It happens a lot. Understand the following. A lot of people, right now when I'm doing this live stream, there's some guys making noise in the background. So let me just cycle to another location. Hold on. Or, you know what? I need to go this way. I think that's better. What I'm saying is, the police has a scientific way of approaching people based on knowledge of how fallen mankind is, based on probabilities. The police does not think in possibilities. It is a possibility that it's not the husband that killed her, but one of her colleagues at work. It is a possibility. But is it probable? Is it likely the case? No. The police acts on probabilities based on scientific facts. That's why they often figure things out quickly. Detectives do the same thing. High ranking warlocks do the same thing. Sociopaths also approach things in such a way. Well, at least if they're high functions, they would say. But anyway, what I'm saying is the reason why so many believers end up in bad situations over and over again, it's because their approach, is ridiculous. Indeed, women also tend to kill their husbands a lot. It goes both ways. Absolutely. In media, only focus off on the man killing the woman, but it also happens the other way around. Of the woman, let someone else do the dirty job for her. But it's the same thing. Okay? Look, we as believers, we need to stop this hyper emotional attitude when it comes to situations in life. There are times we need to shut our mouths, calm down, and just examine what goes on. And once we examine what goes on, now we know what to do about it. It would shock you how many believers are like emotional robots. They just get triggered over and over again. And demons know how to trigger them. So they become like portals being triggered over and over again. Listen, there's nothing wrong with being emotional. Being emotional is natural. We are human beings. Both males and females should be emotional to some extent. Absolutely. But we cannot base our course of life on emotion. And that's something a lot of people don't understand. And that's why they end up making bad decisions that will cost them later on. I'm not saying emotion. Listen, if you're influenced by emotions and make decisions, there's nothing wrong with that. You're a human being. But don't let emotion be the guideline that you use in making decisions. Whether it's who you hang out with, who your life partner is, or who you fellowship with, or what job you take, whatever. Don't let emotion be your guide in how you operate. And that's why sociopaths, when they do the dirty shit out there, they often get away with it because they know how to use the emotional attitude of the public against the public. High ranking warlocks, they act based on the neglect of the public. So high ranking warlocks who are doing satanic rituals, they won't just go to a community and just pick up any random child for a child sacrifice ritual. They will go to a community where children are neglected, and there they will kidnap children for child sacrifice rituals. Because then, if they are caught, they would say, but hold on a minute, why did anyone stop us? Now they can turn it on the community, and the community will be embarrassed. And because the community doesn't want to be embarrassed, they often just let them do things. And that's why high ranking warlocks often get away with the shit they're doing. That's why they get away with it. Even a lot of criminals get away with what they're doing because they know the public doesn't want to face embarrassment. The public does want to face embarrassment. Collective embarrassment is something quite horrible. Nobody wants to go through that. So because the public doesn't want to go through embarrassment collectively, that's why they just forget about things or they just leave things aside. And that's what criminals and high-ranking warlocks understand. And sociopaths understand this too. That's why they often get away. So if you see bad people getting away here in the world, yes, they may have a paranormal cover. They may have demons assisting them, but it's the public eventually that let them get away because the public knows if we need to address this individual, we also need to address our own neglect for enabling this individual. And people don't want to go there. That's how it goes. There was this nurse, this male nurse in the United States, who's suspected of killing over 400 people in hospitals. The guy even said, nobody stopped me. The guy continued killing people. Now he's in prison now for life. There's even a documentary about him on Netflix, and they also made a movie about him. But look, the guy even admitted, nobody stopped me. Nobody cared. The hospitals were more concerned with their reputation and pleasing the clients than with the safety of the patients. So, yes, people get very emotional. Oh, this guy's a serial killer. Oh, he's a horrible human being. He needs to go to hell. Piece of shit, blah, blah. Okay, he can be a piece of shit, hell of a child of the devil, whatever you want to call him. But how come he ended up that way? And how come nobody stopped him? That's what you need to look at. Nobody wants to look at that. People get so hyper emotional on the perpetrator. Okay, but the perpetrator, you can't put it all on the perpetrator. The perpetrator had to be enabled somewhere. Who enabled the perpetrator? And why aren't those who enable the perpetrator not never addressed? Why aren't they ever addressed? So understand this: the public never wants to face themselves. They never want to take responsibility collectively. They always want a monster to blame everything upon. They want a monster to blame everything upon, and then they want victims to explode upon. That's the public. That's fallen mankind. Once you understand this, you know how to act. You know when it's a bad situation, get out of it. Too often, believers think they need to fix a bad situation. Now, if you can improve a situation with your contribution, you do it. But if the situation cannot be improved, you leave the situation. Simple as that. If you notice nobody wants to face the situation, get out. As simple as that. Look, I shouldn't even have to make this live stream, but I have to make it right now because a lot of believers simply don't get it. Jesus even said that the children of this world, they act wiser than the children of light. Even Jesus, God Himself, foresaw the future and realized that a lot of believers in the centuries to come, they will not be that practical in their life. Pagans will be more practical than a lot of believers in the centuries to come. Even Jesus foresaw this. And you know what? We're in the end times, and it's still the case today. A lot of believers are not practical. Pagans are beyond practical. They are flexible and they are dedicated to what they're doing. I'm not saying that there are no believers who are practical. Of course there are. Of course there were believers who were practical throughout history. But a lot of believers have this lazy, fleeing attitude. They think just because they're believers, everything has to be easy and they don't never have to participate in any solutions. That is a hoax. But it's a hoax many believers are clinging onto. That's why they're stuck in going to church every Sunday and never have any solutions in their lives. Simple as that. All right? So I don't have to make this live stream that long. I just want to remind you that we have to act wisely. This emotional attachment to society. Society is a fear it's a fear construct anyway. People escape. So you shouldn't even be involved in society. You should be involved in the community. But this whole emotional thing that you want to be called a good person, that you don't want people listen. If it's okay that you don't want people to talk bad about you. It's natural that you want people to think good about you, talk good about you. That's natural. But don't go so far that people now have an undue leverage over you to take advantage of you just because you don't want them to think bad about you. You should want people to think good of you. People think good of you will benefit your daily life. Also will benefit your own emotional and mental health. But if it goes so far, people use their emotions and their feelings to make life hard on you. Now you're dealing with blackmailers who are narcissistically abusing you. If that's the case, don't confront them. They only make things worse. Slowly and peacefully leave the situation. That's what you need to do. All right? That's what I want to say in this live stream. I'm not going to make this live stream that long anymore. As a matter of fact, we're at the end of the live stream already. You can ask your questions right now. After this live stream, I'm going to make some phone calls with believers to fellowship because I love doing that. I took a big nap in the afternoon, so I'm fully awake now. So, are there any questions about this topic? I'll just stand here before I continue to cycle. I'll cycle when I'm getting the phone calls. Are there any questions about this topic? Let me know, please. All right. I'll wait for one more minute. If I get no questions, I'll close on the live stream. I'll keep cycling and do my phone calls. God is good. There are no gang stalks around now. Praise God. Hmm. All right. Let me see. I'll wait for two. Okay. I got no questions over here. Thank you all for being here. Keep on agreeing with Christ. Be at peace. And I'll see you next time. Shalom. God is good.